together, 10th, 12th session. So today, I just thought of throwing light on the various methodologies and approaches that can be used in thesis for research. Janki, madam, can I have the PPT, please? Slide 1.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sharing, yes.
Yeah, thank you. So all 3 days, day 1, it was basically about what research was. Okay. What are the etiquettes of research? So how do you do research? And what is the difference between doing a research when it comes to different fields? That was about day 1. Day 2, the participants were trained on writing an abstract. What an abstract is, what are the 5 elements that actually builds an abstract? What is a keyword? And I was also able to see a few of your abstracts. And third day, what did we do on day 3? What did we do on day 3?
Literature review.
Regarding, so it was literature review. So I told you as to how you have to explore the sources, the genuine sources, identify the genuine sources, the accurate sources, and how you can make your literature review. Literature review. So that was about day 3. So coming up to day 4, so we will start up with methodologies. The most common methodology that is used for research is qualitative research. You can find it on the slide. Qualitative research. So what is quality? What is qualitative? Sorry. What is qualitative? Now, even I used this term in the previous sessions. The term is phenomenology. Phenomenology, you can write it down. So because every time we use qualitative study, qualitative analysis, it doesn't sound very good. Okay. Instead, you can use the term phenomenology. So phenomenology is exploring phenomena in depth and understanding the human experiences, their behaviors, and social contexts. So when you make a qualitative study, as I told you in my day 1, I told you as to how I did a paper. Okay, I made a qualitative analysis of the CSA, child sexual abuse. So you call the respondents, participants who are ready for research, and you conduct a very informal interview and you voice record it. So what you have in your hand is a qualitative proof. It's a phenomenological proof, which talks about human experiences, human behaviors. Okay. So characteristics, it can be subjective. Okay. It will be mostly subjective because you're dealing with emotions. When you deal with human experiences, naturally you deal with emotions. It will be very descriptive. When you make an interview, from the reply that they make, you may be tempted to ask more questions. So it will be very detailed. And interpretive, it's interpretative actually. TA is missing. Interpretative is as they share their experiences, as they share their emotions, you start interpreting. And for your interpretations, for the discussion column, what you do is you go in for proof, and that's when you start searching for theories. Okay. So what are the tools that can be adopted for a qualitative methodology, for a qualitative analysis? First, as I told you, it can be interviews. You can focus on groups. Sorry. And next is ethnography. Ethnography is you study people in relation to their area, in relation to their area where they are, the geographical area, or it could be pertaining to a particular community. You can see many papers that are titled community case study. Okay, you can make a study in relation to their community, in relation to their caste, in relation to their geographical area, in relation to their particular culture, in relation to a particular society, or it could be pertaining to a particular gender, like male centric, female centric. We call something called masculine studies now. Have you heard the term masculine studies? So people say there is always something called feminist study. I say men are always torturing us, men are using us for everything. Women are always slaves to men, but men also have some story to say. Okay, men say like once a woman gets empowered, once she is educated, once she goes out, does she respect a man? In case if a woman is going to earn much more than her husband, does a woman respect her husband? So these are all the things that are the basic major questions when it comes to masculine studies. Okay, or it could be you can even take up a case study. So when it comes to a research paper, your case study can be even just one or two. Okay, and observations and your observations. So what are your supportive data? All your supportive data, it will be non-numeric, which means your analysis is not based on numbers. It's not numeric. Okay, so you will be depending more on words in the sense what you really talk. You can have images, or it could be a audio or a video taped proof that you have in your hand. And don't ever attach these images, videos, or audios to the journal unless they demand. Okay, you understand? Yes. Examples. Examining the cultural impact of a policy change, understanding consumer motivations through interviews. So this is about qualitative methodology. Over to the next slide, please. Over to the next slide, please. Quantitative methodology. So quantitative is exactly opposite of qualitative. While you give lots of importance to emotions, words, audio, and video in qualitative methodology, quantitative methodology is you measure variables and you test the hypothesis using statistical tools. So you decide on certain things or you arrive at a conclusion majorly based on the numerical data that you have collected. So it will be very, very objective and it is going to be numerical. So the tools that you can adopt for this type of methodology are, it can be a survey, it can be an experiment, it can be a structured observation. Structured observation is a structured, you structure it like you create a questionnaire, you distribute to 500 respondents. So who's your target audience? Where are they located? Which is the right time to talk to them? Circulate this Google form. Okay. So you structure it. It is all like well planned, just like how the final year students take up their final placement interview. Whereas the qualitative methodology is totally unstructured. Okay, you don't fix a time. You don't want your respondent to come in a very formal attire and sit before you. It's a casual talk. It's a casual chat. Okay, coming up to the data, it's going to be percentage. Basically, percentage or count or measurements. That's how it's very numerical. Examples are surveying 1,000 participants to analyze voter behavior, measuring the effectiveness of a drug in a clinical trial. Yes, over to the next slide, please. So this is about quantitative methodology. And next is we come across this type of papers. Now this is becoming very, very popular now. People opt for both. So this is called mixed methods methodology. So you combine both qualitative and quantitative approaches to get a comprehensive understanding. So characteristics are, it is integrative, flexible, holistic. You get a whole view. Okay. And it is all flexible. It's in your hands. And tools, sequential explanatory design. So it's one type of design where you kind of try to pool both the data, convergent parallel design and embedded design. So it's like combining both data, and you find these designs to be very, very easy. Examples, using surveys quantitative and interviews qualitative to study education reforms. Fine. Over to the next slide, please. So these are the three methodologies. When it comes to methodologies, these are the three methodologies that are available: qualitative, quantitative, and mixed methods approach. Okay. Now, coming up to various approaches that can be done this can be done for a PhD level, but it would be more apt if you apply these approaches for your PhD. Okay. No, I'm sorry, for your research papers, for your research scopus papers that you publish. So that first type is descriptive research. So how do you do a descriptive research? Your approach is a descriptive approach. So your goal is describe characteristics of a phenomenon, a population, or a situation. And the methods are observations, case studies, and surveys. Example, documenting the demographic profile of a city. So coming up to the goal part of it, it is going to be very, very descriptive. You describe a population, you describe a situation, you describe a geographical area. And the methods are, it can be an observation. So all your observations must be definitely cited or supported by theories, case studies, or it can be a survey. An example is you document the demographic profile of a city. Fine. Second type of approach is exploratory. So exploring a problem or phenomena to gain insights, and you lay groundwork for further research. So just like a pilot study. So something is yet to be explored. Okay, so something is yet to be known to the whole of the audience, to a major group. So through your exploratory research, you try to explore the problem. Back to the old slide, please. You explore the problem and you come to a decision. That is called an exploratory research. That is called an exploratory research. So you do a pilot study for the particular thing. Okay. So that is how an exploratory study is possible. For example, exploring, can you give one sample for this? Any one sample for exploratory research? Your audience strength is also much, much lower today. Why? What's the reason? I think the strength was 100 on day one. Okay, exploratory research is, you can make a literature review. Your literature review is an exploratory research. Okay, you can focus on groups, investigating consumer perceptions of a new product idea. Okay, a new product has been released. So how are the customers receiving it? It's an exploratory research. Next is explanatory research. Exploratory is you explore. Explanatory research is number 3. You establish causal relationships between variables. You establish causal relationships between variables. Methods, experiments, longitudinal studies, regression analysis. So how do you explain? For example, many times we just make general statements in research. For example, now if you take queer studies, is anyone's areas queer studies here? I'm just trying to explain this explanatory research along with the example. Is anyone's research queer studies here?
Can you repeat the term, ma'am, please? Peer studies.
Pure studies. I'll type it, sir. No, no one has done it. If you have not done it, you can just tell me, no problem. Okay. So, fine. So this cure studies is, so mostly we this all comes under gender studies nowadays. Okay, gender studies. And I told you before, no, something called feminine studies, feminist studies, and something called masculine studies. So we always talk about these two genders. Now, with this modern generation, there are many things that were untouched or that were not openly talked during our age. Okay, maybe when I was very small, my parents didn't talk about this. But now, even in parenting, all these things are openly talked. And what's one such thing as this LGBTQ plus. So it's all about the lesbian relationship, the bisexual, monogamy, all this stuff. Okay, where people are at times we also come across gays. Yes. So if I'm going to make a queer study and take up a novel, say an African novel where I talk about gays, generally the homosexuals, I cannot make general statements that these two characters are homosexuals. I cannot just tell or establish the relationship between these two. Between these two, I cannot do it. I have to explain it. I have to explain it. Now, many parents are here on the forum, right? Yes. How many of you have a very clear understanding of what this LGBTQ plus is? Not related to literature or research, but generally you have an understanding of what this lesbian relationship is, or what this homosexual relationship is, or what is that? The other category is transgenders. Transgenders. How many of you feel you have a good understanding of these people?
Yes, ma'am. I think it is categorized based on their orientation, their
Orientation.
preferences, and lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer. That is LGBTQ. So this is how I would like to explain.
Very good. Thank you, sir. So we always feel like all along, if you go to this old school of thought, being a lesbian, being a gay, or being a transgender is always considered a sin. Okay, it is said to be a crime. That's how we have been seeing it all along. But if you take the current generation, all these are explained in a very, as Dr. Jay Mehta told, it is a kind of an orientation. It says like their brains are wired in such a fashion that they are able to think only like that. You understand? Okay, you cannot ask me as to why their brains are wired in such a fashion. I don't have an answer. But this is the explanation that is given. So just like how a man is attracted to a woman and a woman is attracted to a man, this is something very natural. Okay, the normal cycle that God gifted us. when it appears to be the opposite. That's why we have used the term queer. Queer, what is the meaning of the word queer? Synonym of the word queer is strange. Strange. That's why it's called queer studies. It is strange. It is obviously strange. But now, many theories have come. Many scientists, many psychiatrists, many psychologists, many theorists, they are coming up with supportive theories. Supportive theories. Okay. So that's what I mean by an explanatory research. Analyzing how a training program impacts employee performance. So I cannot just say if I give a training, if I conduct an FDP for a faculty of 100 for a period of 5 days, their performance will shoot high. I have to explain it.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay.
They lack in empathy as well as acceptance even from the close circles.
Yes, true. Very true. Very true. Usually, like their own parents, they send them out, even if it is their own child, when they come to know that their son is a homosexual, when their daughter is a lesbian, he or she is disowned immediately.
Yeah.
Disowned immediately.
It is really
But now the parenting that comes up, something called gentle parenting, modern parenting, and now we call Zen parenting. It all compels the parents, or it motivates the parents even, to be very empathetic. What could be done if your daughter or son turns out to be like that? And even in college, university applications, now we have, when they ask for gender, it is male, female, transgender. We do have columns like that. And in our university, we do have students who are transgenders. They educate themselves and they also get a job at the end after they finish their final year, and they are employed. They're happy. They are happy. Actually, I would like to, of course, it's somewhere, I'm just deviating from the topic. 2 years back when, I was very new to this university, I had one of my students, and his name is actually Varun. Okay. He was a transgender. He was a transgender, and the first fall semester, it's a bit lengthy for us. We do stay with the students for almost 6 to 7 months. After taking up almost 3 or 4 months were over, and he was like, when he comes for all this correction, he was sharing all his personal, like where he was from and what are his future plans, everything. A BTech student, okay, an engineering student who belongs to computer science. And he told, ma'am, I'm just sharing as to what I really feel. I haven't shared this with anyone. My name is Varun, but you call me Varunika. Okay, you understand? Okay, now I'm not like explicitly opening up in the name. I'm replacing it with another name. Okay, so that's how he wanted to tag his name so that it is a feminine name. Okay, it turns out to be a female name. So though my name is Varun, you call me Varunika. And when people, not only you, but even when I have even shared this with my parents, my siblings, even very close friends and hostel roommates, I have told them, when they call me Varunika, I feel very happy. I feel very happy. And he also added, when I'm alone in my room, or when I go to my native place, and then when I stay in my personal room, I would like to drape a sari. I would like to wear bangles. I wish to grow long hair. I want to do makeup. I want to take up a facial. I want to wear lipstick. I want to wear a big bindi. You understand?
Yeah.
This is not his mistake at all. He says, whenever I drape a sari, I'm elated. I feel very joyful. I'm happy. And that's how I want to be. And that's how I want to be. So that's how his brain is reacting. And he's not responsible for that. So whenever he comes to my room or in the class without anyone noticing, I started calling him Varunika, and he was happy. And this boy, he are transgender. Okay, he's a boy, but he's a girl. Okay, all his wishes, his desires, his dreams of a woman, everything I was able to identify in him. Now he got placement, but he didn't take up the placement. Instead, he wanted to do his higher studies. He finished his MS and now he is working in Canada. He's a very successful candidate. And his parents were, though they were not able to accept of what was going on in their son or daughter, they were ready to support him. And now he's almost like he's alone, but he's focusing on his career in Canada. He's happy. Okay, fine. Now coming up to action research. So action research is you solve practical problems through iterative cycles of planning, action, and reflection. So this is just like how I told you on day one. You try to clear out the traffic in front of your university during the peak hours. Okay, so you plan. It's not one cycle, but cycles of, that's what I meant by iterative cycles of planning. So you'll have many plan proposals for doing it, and you act out action, and then you reflect on it. So methods are collaborative methods involving participants as well as researchers. So when you go in for planning, okay, always have a collaborative touch. Please do involve other researchers, other participants, so that you can also get ideas from their own brain. You can have many creative plans, many creative plan proposals. Okay, examples. It's an irony that the president of the oldest democracy and one of the most powerful nations just announced there are only two genders. Okay. Example is implementing and evaluating a new teaching strategy in classroom. Okay. So this is action plan. You implement, you think you can teach a lesson through some other mode. You can implement and you can also evaluate it with a new teaching strategy in your classrooms. Okay, right. Action research is a type of applied research. Solve the problem in educational. No, it need not be necessarily educational institutions. Okay, it can be anywhere. It can be even industry.
Ma'am, action research can be, technology can be a good example for action research as well. Because we'll be trying out something, testing something.
Yes, technology. Yeah, right. You're right, sir.
Because I'm working on it currently, I want to understand better.
Okay, you're working in a company, sir?
No, I'm pursuing my PhD.
PhD. Okay, fine. Good. So this is about action research. Next slide, please. Next is historical research. I think Janvi ma'am is not here. Historical research. Historical research is you understand the past events and their impact on the present. That is called historical research. So methods, how do you do it? You analyze primary and secondary sources like documents, artifacts. Example, you study the evolution of healthcare policies. So, for example, there was a novel written by an Indian writer, Indian woman writer, Jayashree Mishra. Jayashree Mishra is a Keralite, and she wrote a historical novel titled Rani. Have you heard of it? No. Okay.
Can you repeat the title, ma'am?
I'll type it for you. You can actually Google this novel even.
Rani, okay.
Rani. So Rani is a historical novelist. Is a beautiful historical fiction. And as the name goes, this novel talks about Rani Lakshmi Bai. It talks about Rani Lakshmi Bai. You have any rough idea about Rani Lakshmi Bai?
Ma'am, can you pardon the question, please?
You know anything about Rani Lakshmi Bai?
Yes, ma'am.
See,
She
Rani
is
again,
courageous woman and is a fighter, freedom fighter. Yeah.
freedom fighter, very courageous. Okay, then she was actually born in a very ordinary family, and she married the king. It'd be nice if you mute the mic, please, Mr. JVS Mani, sir.
Intention, I don't want to encourage.
Okay. So she was married in a very ordinary family. Then she married the king. And when she married the king, she was very, very young. Okay. Say like 11 years, I think 13 years, not very apt, but that's what her age. And the king was much older than Rani's father. You understand? So it's like just like getting married to a grandpa. Okay. So when she wrote this novel, historical research, if you take up this novel for study, you have to understand what history is and what fiction is. So you make comparison. You make a comparison. And this you can do it when you analyze the primary source, the primary facts that you get, and the secondary information. And next is correlational research. So this is the last of the types of approaches. Correlational research. So what is a correlational research?
Ma'am, related to other.
Sorry, ma'am.
Ma'am, we can say related so to something.
Okay. Then
We have one or more research.
so you identify relationships between variables
Correct.
Yes,
without
ma'am.
implying any causation. For example, examining the relationship between screen time and academic performance. Screen time, and so screen time is one separate domain. Your performance, your academic performance, how you're going to perform or how you're performing in your college, your school, your being a faculty, that's a different domain. I'm relating these two. So just because I watch, say maybe serials every day, TV serials every day, or just because I watch a movie every day, will my performance as a faculty improve, or does it appreciate? It's getting appreciated or it is depreciated. This is called a correlational research. And this is mainly done with the help of statistical analysis. It's mainly done with the help of statistical analysis. Okay, so I'll just give a quick recap of what we did today under methodologies. So first is qualitative methodology. Qualitative methodology, it is basically based on human experiences, human emotions. That is qualitative methodology. Next is quantitative methodology. So quantitative methodology is basically based on numbers. You depend more on statistics, surveys, and data analysis. Third is mixed method approach. So mixed method is you combine both qualitative and quantitative. Next is approaches. Approaches is descriptive, number one. So descriptive, what do? You describe. It can be a person, it can be a place, a geographical area, a culture, anything. And you do it with the help of case study or survey. Second is exploratory. Exploratory research is you explore a phenomena or you explore a problem and you gain insight. So exploratory research is literature review, focus group, pilot studies. Third is explanatory. Explanatory, as I told you, you take up casual relationships between any of the two domains and you try to explain your statements, general statements that you make. Fourth, action research. So action research is you have many cycles of planning, okay, and you do the action and then you reflect if it needs any improvement. That's called an action research. And the methods, it would be nice if you have collaborative methods involving all the participants and researchers. Next approach is historical resource research. You understand the past events and their impact on the present. Yes. So when you do it, you necessarily need primary sources as well as secondary sources. And last is correlational research. So you take up two domains and you combine them. You put them together. Okay. So with this, the first half of the session, it comes to an end. If you have any doubts based on the first half, you can ask now.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So your examples, your point of view is more on the social sciences side. So from the technology point of view, I'm currently working on my RAC meetings and the research paper where I'm updating the progress on a frequency basis. So what kind of research methodologies would be apt for technological research where now I'm trying to research on the papers where the gaps are, the outcomes are available, but there are still more gaps which are still to be addressed, which I'm planning to work upon.
What is the aim of your research, sir?
To create a framework on the technology, the niche area that I'm working on.
You're creating a framework, which means you're creating a content.
Yeah, creating a software architecture of the framework, you can say.
Okay, based on?
It can be either a service or a product.
Okay, based on? Have you made a survey then? Have you made a survey? Maybe the needs of the customer, the needs of the audience.
No, that will be my next focus. I'm currently focusing on researching only on the papers and seeing what are their existing outcomes.
You're currently doing a literature review. So finish it off first, sir. You can finish it off. I'll also give my personal number.
Okay.
You finish up your literature review.
Okay.
After which you have to do a survey because your aim is to create a framework. You're like creating a course.
Yeah.
Okay. And as you told, it can be a service or it can even turn out to be a good product, a successful product.
Yeah.
So if this product has to be successful, then you need to get a survey of from many participants as to on many criteria like expectations.
Okay.
Okay. Their comfort level, satisfaction level, all these things you have to make a survey.
Right.
So you finish off your literature review and you can get back to me anytime.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So there's a question who has asked about what is the difference between action research? Yeah, difference between action research and action research, it focuses mainly on analyzing and improving the local problems. Okay. You focus and you analyze the problems and you also improve the local problems. Applied research is your aim is to solve immediate problems. You understand the difference?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So action is you take your own time. You take your own time and you do it very slowly. You can space it and you can do it. Applied research is you have an immediate solution and you apply it immediately and see if it is okay or not. Do research methods include research approaches? Yes, they do. They do. So it can be dependent. It can also be non-dependent. Anything else?